Since August 23rd, 2020, Bayern Munich has won the Champions League, like the Champions League final, the UEFA Super Cup, and they won the German Super Cup to basically give them all the trophies that they could have won to end last season to jump into this one. And with how dominant Bayern Munich has been, I mean, they've only lost one game in all of 2020, and that just happened like this past week. Bayern Munich was probably one of the strongest soccer teams I've seen in a very long time, and I still think that this year they're gonna be even better. How are you guys doing? It is Thursday, October 1st, 2020, out here in this quarantine, and for this episode, I'm just gonna take you slightly through what Bayern Munich has been through, and I'm just gonna walk through this season, to kind of give a little bit of reasoning and justification, or just give you my reasoning for why I think Bayern Munich is gonna be the toughest soccer team to throw off this season. So naturally, following with starting off with the trophies that I did mention. August 23rd, they beat PSG in the Champions League final, and a Champions League tournament where they didn't lose a single game. And they even beat Barcelona. Like they embarrassed some teams that shouldn't have been embarrassed, especially the London teams, and most notably FC Barcelona, that sent Luis Suarez packing and got Messi into a whole feud with FC Barcelona. But continuing on. And on September 24th, which was exactly last week, Bayern Munich took on Sevilla, a Spanish soccer team, because they won the Europa Cup. The UEFA Super Cup is a matchup between the UEFA Champions League leader and the UEFA Europa Cup leader. So of course they faced off. Bayern Munich won that game 2-1. And yesterday they beat Borussia Dortmund in the German Super Cup, which is usually a matchup between the team that wins the Bundesliga and the team that wins the German title. But since Bayern Munich won both, they took on Borussia Dortmund because they were the second best team in the Bundesliga. They were the Bundesliga runner-ups. So they faced off against each other yesterday, and Bayern Munich was able to take that trophy. So that's three trophies, not to mention the Bundesliga trophy that they won for winning the Bundesliga, and the championship that they won in the German DFB Pokal Cup that they won in July. So I mean, basically since June 27th, Bayern Munich has won 5 trophies to basically cement themselves and remind the world that they are Germany's strongest soccer side and arguably the world's strongest. But let me just get into this season really quickly, just to give you a little bit of context of what's been going on in the season. Their only notable loss has been Thiago Alcantara, who is their main midfielder, their Spanish midfielder, who is now playing for Liverpool. But they eventually promoted Joshua Kimmich to the number 6, and put him in the midfield, as they moved Pavard to Kimmich's original right back position. And of course, my whole thing with Bayern Munich is they lost Thiago Alcantara and they gained Leroy Sané, who is one of my elite forwards, by the way, who's been one of the few players who's been able to who consistently finish with double-digit goals and assists in the Premier League. But of course, I'll get back to that in a second. Let's say that Thiago and Leroy Sané was an even swap. Bayern Munich's side is still getting incredibly stronger by the day. Just looking at their goalkeepers, Manuel Neuer is 34, and he's the LeBron James of goalies in soccer. There's no other way I can put it. I don't think there's another goalie that has the impact that Manuel Neuer has. And of course, he got 2 goals scored on him by Borussia Dortmund and 4 by, I want to say, Hoffenheim. But when it comes to the heat of the game, I don't think there's any goalie that any team in the world would pick over Manuel Neuer in a winner-take-all matchup, especially following his game against PSG, with a very strong attacking side that got a lot of good shots off against him. And then even looking at their depth, they have Alexander Nubel, who is a goalie that they picked up from Schalke, Manuel Neuer's former club. He's basically fixed. They basically put him there to be the heir apparent to Manuel Neuer when Manuel Neuer steps down. He's learning in his ring. I have no idea how many games he's going to play, but he's going to play. Looking at Bayern's defensive side, holding down the middle, you have Nicolas Sule and Jerome Boateng, who are starting. They're playing most of the games along with David Alaba. It's mainly those 3 that are holding down the middle, because Alaba used to be the left back, but they moved him into center, especially after this season. He's been showing that he's a much stronger center fielder, even though that's really hard to do, considering he was arguably the best left back in all of soccer. On the left back, they're probably going to have Alphonso Davies, They're probably going to have him that be his main position because he plays really well with the attack and he's incredibly fast. And like he's an amazing passer. He's just an amazing offensive player and he's so physical. It'd probably be best for them to leave him there. And he's only 19. Not to mention Lucas Hernandez, who they're probably going to switch between the left back and they're probably going to rotate him among the center backs as well because he's more of a center back, but of course he can work on the attack as well. They moved Benjamin Pavard, the young French defenseman, to the right back, and of course he's playing that position really well because he's one of the best passers and he can also shoot from really really far out. He has some really amazing he's probably some of the best goals I've ever seen in his repertoire. So I mean, there's always that. You can never count him out. Looking out to the midfielders, of course, you have Joshua Kimmich, who assumed the number 6 spot after Thiago Alcantara left and moved to Liverpool. But I would argue that Joshua Kimmich might be an upgrade. I would say he's one of the best passers, if not the best, just still ball passer in all of soccer. He has amazing vision. And of course, since he was originally a right back, he plays incredible defense. And he's been starting to score some goals as of late. And of course, because he's already been that guy for the German team, it's kind of wild just to see him kind of assume that role. And he's only 25. Also, they have Javi Martinez, who's been on the Bayern side for a bit, who's been getting a lot of playing time recently. He plays really well. Also, you have Leon Goretzka, who's been playing a lot more minutes. They got him from, I believe, either Schalke or Hoffenheim. Don't take my word for it. Was one of those two. But Leon Goretzka, he's been an amazing midfielder because he's incredibly physical. He runs with the pace and he passes incredibly well, and he's not afraid to get dirty for to go for the header. Like he's a dog. No, that dude he's a dog. Like he's someone that you would want. He's someone you would want in the foxhole with you. Additionally, they have moving to the front of the midfield, they have Thomas Müller running the center attacking mid, who just came off a season where he set the Bundesliga record for assists, and they're still riding off that momentum. Additionally, they have Leroy Sané, who's playing the left wing, who's been playing with Germany. Like I said, let's say he was an even trade-off for Thiago Alcantara. Thiago Alcantara was an amazing midfielder, and I think that Leroy Sané might be a better addition, especially now that he's playing on the other side of Serge Gnabry, and considering Sané is now the 11, Sané is the 7, they're going to be the replacement, the next generation of Robbery, which was the duo of Arjen Robben and Franck Ribéry. The duo who kind of took over the 2010s for Bayern Munich, but this is the new era. But of course, you have those guys along with Kingsley Coman, the French winger who ended up getting the only goal for Bayern Munich in the Champions League final. And then moving up to the forward, you have Robert Lewandowski, arguably the world's best soccer player. There is an argument. The world's best goal scorer, there is an argument. And coming off last season where he scored 55 combined goals in international play along with Bundesliga play and Champions League, and considering the only game in the Champions League that he didn't score a goal in was the final, and Bayern Munich still won that game 1-0. And then behind Robert Lewandowski, you have Joshua Zirkzee, who's only 19 years old, and he's starting to play a lot more minutes, and you can kind of see that he's going to be the replacement for Robert Lewandowski. I have no idea if they're going to put him on loan this season, but that's what the Bayern Munich squad is looking like this season. Looking out to how this Bundesliga side looks right now, they're sitting 7th in the Bundesliga right now because there've only been 2 games played and they lost the second game. They won their first game by 8, so they're winning. They have the highest goal differential out of the teams with 3 points. But looking at the Bundesliga, considering that Borussia Dortmund is already 1-1, just like Borussia Dortmund also has 3 points at this very moment, and they're their only competition. I see there's no way that Bayern Munich loses the Bundesliga. So I think you can kind of chalk this one up. I would even go as far to say I don't think Bayern Munich they lose 2 more games in the season this year, and they have 32 more matches to play, especially with how strong their side is and how they've been transitioning everyone into this new season, how they've been moving everyone around, especially with the way Hansi Flick has been running this side. And no, I think they take this. And looking at how the Champions League fares out, I still don't think there's a team that's stronger front to back. I don't think there's a team that can put out a stronger 11 than Bayern Munich as of right now for this 2021 season. And then just also looking out just to their looking out just their future games, looking out to who they're gonna who they're gonna face off again, because they have to face they start their German tournament, the German domestic cup, on October 15th. They're going to face off against FC Düren. And of course, that's going to be the first game of yet another road to the championship for Bayern Munich. So just in Bayern Munich is just continuing to build off sustained success. And I think that this year they'll end up being a lot more formidable than last year. Just if you take the Sane and Thiago Alcantara flip, like if you could say that's an even flip, Bayern Munich's players, almost every single one of them has gotten, I think will be significantly better at the end of this season than they were at the end of this past season. Because Hansi Flick's first full season at Bayern Munich is most definitely going to go down as one of the greatest soccer seasons that was ever played. But with that said, I really appreciate you for listening to this whole piece. Once again, it is Thursday, October 1st, 2020. Thank you once again for listening to all 11 minutes of my piece, and peace out.